In the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, where dreams are made and broken, there is a story that still echoes the tragedy of a musician who sacrificed everything for fame but ended up losing it all. This is the tale of a young man who sold his soul to the devil for rock and roll glory, only to be betrayed at the pinnacle of his success. Welcome to True Crime Tragic, and today let's find out what happened to the musician who sold his soul to the devil. The year was 1970 and the place was Los Angeles, a city of angels, also known as the City of Lost Souls. He wanted to be a musician, a rock star to be precise. Some said it was because he always seemed to show up at midnight for their rendezvous. Others said it was because his soul was as dark as the darkest hour of the night. Whatever the reason, Mr. Midnight was an enigma, a shadowy figure with an air of mystery and a reputation for knowing everyone and everything about the music industry. Robert had the first two ingredients, a burning passion for music and the talent to back it up. There were nights when he looked out at the screaming fans, the flashing cameras, the sea of expectant faces, and felt a profound sense of emptiness. The music he once loved had become a commodity, his songs a product to be sold, his performances a mere routine. The cheers of the crowd, once music to his ears, now sounded like the mocking laughter of the damned. Robert tried to escape it, to drown out the discordant symphony in his head, tried to outrun the specter of his past in the frantic pace of a rock and roll life. The money, the mansions, and the limousines vanished as quickly as they had come, leaving Robert with nothing but the echo of his lost fame and the torment of his shattered dreams. But the cruelest twist of all was yet to come. His music, which had once echoed with the joys and sorrows of the human experience, now carried the stench of damnation. The applause that had once reverberated through his being, now rang in his ears like the death knell of his soul. In the annals of music history, his name faded into obscurity, becoming a footnote, a whisper in the wind. Their own battles with the darkness that lay just beneath the surface of everyday life. They saw in his music the pain of living a life half-lived, the agony of a soul trapped in a gilded cage, the despair of a man who sold his soul for a dream, only to realize that the devil had played him for a fool. But his music, his music lived on, echoing in the hearts of those who truly understood the depth of his despair, the torment of his soul, and the tragedy of his fate. His music became an underground sensation, passed from one disillusioned soul to another, each listener finding in his music a mirror to their own internal darkness and minds of those who felt like outcasts. The impact he'd had on the very fabric of underground music culture. He never got to see it because the devil, true to his nature, had kept his end of the bargain. Let it be a reminder that the road to fame is paved with peril, and the pursuit of glory often comes at a terrible cost. For sometimes in the pursuit of greatness, we might just end up selling ourselves short. But wherever he went, whatever he did, the darkness followed him like a shadow. An idea began to form in his mind, an idea that would change both their lives forever. But it wasn't that easy. The moment he tried to pull away, the nightmares intensified, turning his life into a waking hell. The music that had once brought him glory now taunted him with his failures. And in the depths of his despair, when the music industry had turned its back on him, and the fans he'd once adored had become his tormentors, he died not with a bang but with a whimper, another forgotten soul in a city filled with broken dreams and lost souls. The paparazzi, who once chased him with adoration, now hounded him like a wounded animal. The music industry, which had embraced him as one of its own, now scorned him, reviled him. The fans who once worshipped him turned their backs, spitting at his feet as he walked away. The crowds that had once worshipped him now jeered and booed. The kind of famous you dream of, the kind that will make people go wild. It's a story that has resonated through the ages, a story that serves as a warning to those who dare to dream big, to those who crave the limelight, to those who seek to conquer the world of rock and roll. Robert, desperate for his shot at glory, didn't hesitate. He agreed without asking questions, without realizing the price he would have to pay. One rainy night in a smoky jazz club, Mr. Midnight approached Robert with a proposition that was as tempting as it was dangerous. His face became a symbol of the era, his music the soundtrack of a generation. Everything he'd ever dreamed of was within reach. He could play the guitar like nobody's business. His voice was a raspy, soulful tenor, and his songwriting was raw, honest, and deeply moving. But luck, well, that was a different story. But he wasn't just aiming for the local bar gigs. No, Robert had his eyes set on the big time, on the kind of fame that would make him a household name. They started subtly, like whispers in the night, half-forgotten melodies and lyrics that twisted in his mind, turning into monstrous parodies of his own work. The nightmares grew more frequent, more vivid, until they consumed his waking hours. In his dreams, he'd walk through a graveyard of broken instruments, the headstones engraved with the names of lost souls, and he would wake up gasping for breath. Someone whose music would resonate with millions, whose face would adorn magazine covers, whose name would be synonymous with the hottest band of the era. Back then, LA was a melting pot of dreams, a place where people from all walks of life converged with the hope of making it big in the world of entertainment. The music scene was particularly vibrant, a heady mix of blues, rock and roll, folk and soul. It was in this cauldron of creativity that our story begins. Robert Johnson, not his real name, was a young man from a small town who had big dreams. But the road to rock stardom was, as they say, paved with hard work, dedication, and a whole lot of luck. Robert had been playing the LA circuit for years, trying to make it big, trying to get his foot in the door of the industry. But it seemed like the big break he craved was just elusive, always just out of reach. Discouraged but not defeated, Robert found himself at a crossroads. He had a wife and kids back home, bills to pay, and dreams that were starting to feel like an impossible fantasy. That's when he met Mr. Midnight. How he got that name, nobody knew. Midnight listened to Robert's music, observed his raw talent, and saw the desperation in his eyes. "I can make you famous," he said, his voice a low, smooth purr that seemed to echo with secrets. Mr. Midnight led Robert into a labyrinth of smoky backrooms and secret deals. Soon, Robert's music was everywhere. The radio waves, the TV screens, the magazine covers. But as Robert basked in the glow of his newfound fame, he couldn't shake off a growing sense of unease. Then there were the nightmares. His music, once his solace, now echoed with a haunting emptiness. He tried to quit, to walk away from the fame, the fortune, and the monstrous deal that had become his life. And as his career imploded, so did his life. The fame he traded his soul for had turned against him, becoming the very thing that was destroying him. As he stumbled through the maze of his own mistakes, he realized the gravity of his deal with the devil. Robert Johnson's story is a cautionary tale, a grim reminder of the cost of fame, the dangers of ambition, and the consequences of deals made with the unknown. His music died with him, or so the world thought. In the dingy bars and smoky clubs, his music found its audience, a cult following that saw in his haunting melodies the reflection of their own struggles, and so Robert's legend grew. Not in the halls of fame, but in the hearts of the forgotten, the downtrodden, and the damned. But Robert never got to see it. He never got to see the cult following he'd inadvertently created, the way his music had touched the hearts. When Robert's fame waned and his career crashed and burned, he was left with nothing but the echo of his lost glory and the torment of his shattered dreams.